Hey, good morning, kings and queens. Welcome to Mornings with King Dave. Hope you're off to another amazing start to your day. But today, like every other day, I have a good message for you. Today, I want to follow up on yesterday's message that I posted about the gorilla killing and the child, and the situation from what I've read and from interactions I had yesterday through social media, person, general. First is that people are ignorant. People without expertise in children, in gorillas, they want to share their opinion. They want to tell you what should have happened, even though they have no experience with gorillas, even though they have no experience with children. They want to share how things should happen, how things should have been done. Stop being ignorant, educate yourself. If you have no training in a situation, don't give your opinion, because you're just being ignorant. Number two, if you don't have people that are ignorant, you have the other side of the equation where it's the people where their shit don't stink. What do I mean by this? Well, it's the parents who, instead of putting themselves in their shoes of the mother where this unfortunate accident, horrific accident happened, they fail to realize the instant that their children can run away. They fail to realize how many times it's actually happened to them. And if they fail to realize that, well, then just go to their mother and their father and ask how many times when they were growing up that there was a time where if you were in the supermarket, which will bring me back to my next point with the supermarket issue, or playing at a park or anywhere, where there wasn't a time when their mother or father turned around and for 30 seconds to a minute lost sight of them and did not know where they were. Because if that did happen when they were growing up, and if you fail to realize that it's actually going to happen to you as a parent, then your shit doesn't stink. And they're boasting out. They put their chest out and they say, oh no, I'm the perfect parent. Come watch me. I'm perfect. I always have eyes on my children. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, if you can't realize that your shit stinks too, and you can't put yourself in that situation, you again don't have a right to an opinion, because your opinion is skewed. You think you're sitting up on the high level because your shit don't stink. But take the minute, if you are one of those people who seem to think that this can never happen to you, go to your mother or your father and ask them how many times as a child when you were growing up that they lost track of you for 30 seconds. I guarantee you there will be at least 5 if they can think long and hard enough. Now, if it happened to your mother and a father, does that mean your mother and father are horrible parents? Does that mean your mother and father are ignorant, or not ignorant, are irresponsible? Like everybody's saying this mother is? No, guys, because it's part of kids being kids and growing up. And if you want to, and which brings me to the third point, and then the other fourth point. Kind of everything rolls in together. But the third point, I'm going to go back to the grocery store. See, if it can happen in a grocery store, it can happen in a zoo. Well, people want to manipulate the situation and say, well, if a grocery store is different than a zoo, a park is different than a zoo. Ladies and gentlemen, here's a small little newsflash. Public is public. You can't say, well, this place is public and this place is more public. So no, ladies and gentlemen, public is public. And before you all want to judge me, I have 3 children, so I know what it's like to be a dad with a 6, 5, and a 4-year-old. I know what it's like to try and keep my eyes on them 100% of the time, but I'm also not going to manipulate a situation, good morning, Adam, and say that, well, this place, yeah, it's different, but it's public, but it's different. Guys, public means public. You can't control when and where an accident is going to happen. That is why it's called an accident. Because if we could control when and where situations were to occur, we wouldn't have accidents. So, please, stop trying to manipulate situations to fit your agenda. Look at the entire situation as a whole. And right here I want to say, please, if you agree with any of this, share it. Share the message on your Facebook page, because I want this to get out to anybody who has ever been ignorant, who has ever thought their shit don't stink, or who's ever manipulated a situation to fit their agenda. Listen, because this doesn't just apply to gorillas or this situation in general, it applies to every situation. Which brings me to number 4. Number 4 is that people, instead of having a conversation and instead of working it out with somebody else, like to tear other people down in order to try and get their point across. See, by asking somebody if you have kids, or asking somebody if you've ever lost sight of something or your children in life, and your comeback, or the comeback that was given, was, well, you're a horrible parent. You need to come over to the being a hardworking American and being a number one dad. Look, you don't have to tear people down to get your point across. Okay? If you're tearing people down, it just shows, again, how ignorant and how chest out your mentality is. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to come over to the dark side and have my chest out all the time and think that I'm the biggest badass and that my shit don't stink. Because I know my shit stinks. My girlfriend tells me all the time how much my shit stinks. Okay? But what I do know is that mistakes and accidents can happen. And I'm not going to place blame by somebody else having an accident happening to them. So, again, don't tear other people down just to get your point across. You can have a conversation with people, but the minute that you come back with me as you're a horrible parent or you're not doing good enough, when I'm just making simple, obvious points that happen in every person's life, you've lost all respect, my friend. And if you've lost my respect, well then, there's no point in even continuing a conversation with you. Which brings me into the final thought that I had about interactions and just in general. How about, instead of somebody going out and getting a petition with 100,000 signatures to put this mom in jail, how about we go out and get 100,000 signatures to get zoos to reform their live exhibits, to have an evaluation done on their exhibits for their safety? Instead of trying to place blame, my friends, why don't we try finding solutions? See, losers place blame. Winners and successful people find solutions. So, stop placing blame. Find solutions. Why don't we put plexiglass up instead of wooden fences? Because if you know, and here in Cleveland, the zoo here, all you have is wooden posts with wood slats that go across it. That's it. And I know, and anybody else with a 4-year-old knows, that a 4-year-old can easily get through that fence and crawl over the 10 feet of ground like that. So, again, let me recap. Number 1, don't be ignorant, my friends. Number 2, don't think your shit don't stink. Don't walk around with your chest out thinking you're better than the next person, because you're not. And you're going to get slapped down. Number 3, don't manipulate situations. Okay? Look at a situation as a whole and realize the enormity of the problem. Don't say public is here, but it's not public over here. Public is public. Number 4, if you have to tear people down in order to get your point across, you don't have a valid point to begin with. And you lost all respect in my book. And in anybody else who treats themselves like a king and queen, you lost yourself with them as well. Because remember, the number one thing to being a king or a queen of your life is to show and give respect. And if you're not given respect, then you don't have to give it back. And number 5, start finding solutions and stop placing blame. Martha, good morning. Hope you have a wonderful day. That's my message this morning. Just a little recap. Please, again, if you like this, or if you agree with this, or if you don't agree with this and you want to share it on your page and say, this asshole doesn't know what he's talking about, share it on your page. See what other people's reactions are. But I want to help me by sharing this video on your page, and let's see what everybody else is. Let's get this going so other people can realize these 5 points when you're trying to have a discussion with people or trying to find a solution. And let's start changing the world, guys. All right, so with that, question of the day: do you agree or disagree, and why? Don't forget the and why. Put it in the comments below. I'm interested. I can take negative feedback, and I will have a discussion with you. But if you are going to put negative feedback and not have respect, keep it to yourself, my friend. I don't want to hear it. But if you want to be respectful, all the more power to you. Please put it below. And other than that, guys, remember, be memorable, live memorably, and as always, thank you guys so much. Remember, anything you guys are going through right now is temporary. You're stronger than you know. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace out.